call.
Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Planning Board. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Planning Board for the City of Birmingham. Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Could we please call the roll?
Scott Klein.
Present.
Robin Boyle.
Here.
Peter Jeffries. Bert Kozak.
Here.
Daniel Scher.
Here.
Janelle Whipple-Boyce.
Here.
Brian Williams.
Present.
Melvin Curry.
Here.
Missy Herman.
Here.
Carter Anderson.
Here.
Olivia Batanzas.
All right, we are court. And for the record, Mr. Curry will be the voting member in place of Mr. Jeffries tonight. Let's move forward to the review and approval of the minutes for August 13th. Do we have any?
We didn't get him.
We didn't get
That's
him.
right, I didn't see him.
We didn't get him.
All right.
Well, surprise. We'll have to put them in the next one.
Put him in the next one then. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I thought they looked perfect. Chairperson's comments, welcome to the meeting. We have a site plan meeting tonight, which we'll hear a proposal for a new couple of projects. There will be an opportunity for the public to speak. If you are here, you can come forward at the appropriate time and use the microphones. If you're at home, you can use the raise your hand function in Zoom, and I can call on you, but we'll get into those details as we get to it. Mr. Dupuy, any changes to the agenda?
Nope, no changes at all.
All right, so let's move forward. First item of business is special land use permit and site plan and design review, two separate permit or approvals for 211 Hamilton Row, number 28.
Yep, and you have the report starting on page 2 in your packet and the plans on page 10.
Not much here.
So this is there for now. So the sub 211 Hamilton Row, number 28, is a special land use permit final site plan and design review. The subject site is located on the north side of Hamilton Row between North Old Woodward and Ferndale. It's a currently vacant first floor tenant space within an existing 5-story commercial building, the Palladium building. And the applicant has submitted a special land use and final site plan and design review application proposing a new restaurant serving alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption, which includes extensive interior renovation and the addition of a new outdoor dining patio. The new proposed restaurant, number 28, is described as a small, intimate indoor setting with food that will be prepared and provided through the adjacent kitchen of Terra Kitchen and Cocktails. They also provided hours of operation as listed in the report. Chapter 10, Section 10-42 of the Birmingham Code of Ordinances states that any and all transfers of a license for consumption of intoxicating liquor on premises require the approval of the City Commission, and the licensee must comply with all provisions of the contract and special land use permit. Therefore, should they be approved here, they'll be going on to the City Commission for special land use permit approval. Accordingly, the applicant must obtain a recommendation from the Planning Board on the special land use and final site plan design review application, which is then reviewed for final consideration by the City Commission. So with this project, they're not proposing changes to like the building footprint. So you don't have a lot of, so a lot of the report, you know, the setback and height requirements, those things aren't changing. Screening, landscaping, mechanical, streetscape, parking, loading, vehicular circulation and access, those sorts of things are not changing at all. The bulk of the work, like I said, is the interior and then this exterior patio. So that's mostly what we'll be focusing on tonight. For the design review, as I said, we're mostly focusing on sort of the outdoor patio, where they're proposing a 12-seat, 200-square-foot outdoor dining patio, which would be directly in front of the tenant space. The patio is proposed to be contiguous, but will exist on both public and private property. The applicant will be expected to apply for an outdoor dining permit annually, and enter into a lease agreement with the city for the use of the public property as a part of the permit. So the applicant provided the plans you have in your packet, and they did provide on those plans the dimension for the 5-foot clear pedestrian pathway, which they did indicate was 6 feet 8 inches. A little bit of a discrepancy we found there. So the one comment I have in your report from the department comments was from Department of Public Services, where they noted that the installation of the proposed outdoor dining patio may require the relocation of a city trash can and bike rack. So that's the one little discrepancy with the plans, was that in that 6 foot 8 inch clear pedestrian pathway they show on the plans, we do note that there is a city trash can and city bike rack located in that space. So I just noted that in your packet, that is something that the applicant will have to contend with, and that the area is also comprised of predominantly exposed aggregate and will force pedestrians to take an awkward route around the outdoor dining patio. The planning division recommends that the planning board discuss the potential to either reduce the size of the patio or redesign or relocate the planters to a different area to try to reduce that impact of the dining patio on the pedestrian pathway. And again, they will just have to sort of figure out how the trash can and bike rack are being handled. The only other sort of hiccup I noted was when it comes to signage, they did indicate in the application that a new 5.5 square foot bronze plate with laser cut logo would be mounted to the wall. That sign doesn't appear to meet the sign ordinance as it's located below this sign band, and they did note that it was replacing an existing sign. We didn't see that. The building does have an existing bracket for a projecting sign, so the applicant can just address whether that is a wall sign or if they're intending to use the existing bracket. But in any case, they can clarify that and provide the proper plans according to the ordinance ahead of the application going to the city commission for the special land use permit approval. That's pretty much all I have noted. We did recommend, based on a review of the site plan submitted and the approval criteria of Article 7, Section 7.27 and 7.36, the Planning Department recommends that the Planning Board recommend that the City Commission approve the special land use permit final site plan and design review application for 211 Hamilton Row, subject to the following conditions. I gave you 3 conditions, which I did explain already. It was they must submit the revised plans detailing a clear and unobstructed 5-foot pedestrian path, provide clear sign designs for signage that meets the zoning ordinance, and then, as of course, as always, comply with the requests of all city departments.
All right, thank you. Questions? I know I have a few. Mr. Kozik?
Just curious, what was in the space? It's vacant, you said? What was in here prior to it being vacant?
Do you happen to know? Otherwise, we'll bring the applicant up in a minute. Ms. Minsky?
I'll let the applicant.
We'll let the applicant.
thanks.
We just need to make sure we're on the record is all.
Thank you.
Other questions? I know I have some. Ms. Whipple-Voice?
Did you say there was a bike rack there as well as a trash can?
I don't see it.
There is.
There
Yes.
is, okay.
There is?
Yep.
Do we have the ability to bring up Street View?
I mean, okay.
I don't think there is one. Thank you.
There is.
There is, it's on Street View, and then Nick was kind enough to run by just to
I
make
drove by
sure
today.
that things hadn't changed before we noted that for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. West?
no, that's all.
Unless you
It's
saw
just
anybody
not-
out there with a saw.
It's not in the,
Yeah, maybe it's gone now.
it's not in these images that were provided by the applicant, so.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh, I see
Take it
it.
back, take it back.
Okay.
So the applicant, the plans in the packet do note the city light pole there, which obviously is staying. And DPS just noted that these would need to be moved if the plans as proposed are
Okay, thanks.
instructed.
Before we go on to the next 2 questions, could you also now bring up I guess it's the second sheet of the architectural submittal? They provided some lovely photos.
Dimensions.
I'd like you just real quickly, maybe, nope, that one right there.
Right here?
Just zoom in to just one on the left and help people perhaps at home and anybody watching just understand where this is? We kind of just jumped in and said it's in the Palladium, but can we explain where it is? The reason I'm asking is this particular block has a long history for anybody that's lived in this city with businesses that serve alcohol. And that long history has not always been a wonderful one. So I'd like everybody to understand where this is and what we're talking about. So can you just explain, is it those three, is that the area, those three underneath the sign band?
Yeah, so my understanding is the red box here indicates where, behind those doors would be
Correct.
the restaurant.
Okay. And can you then show the floor plan real quickly, just so that we know what people are, I think it's one or two down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go through
Zoom
the
out for that.
dimensions, yeah.
Just kind of show us the extent of the restaurant or whatever this is.
The other doors. Other doors, there you go.
Okay. Thank you. Now, we had some questions from Mr. Williams.
I can't read the plans. What's the width of the
6'5".
proposed planters beyond the rail?
16 inches.
16 inches?
16 inches.
Beyond the
Yeah, so you
the
have-
metal?
Yes.
Okay. And the width beyond that, the dimension you have is 6, is that including or?
Well, if we have
not?
questions for the applicant, let's bring the applicant up in
Okay,
a minute.
well, I'm trying to, maybe, we don't, I'm trying to figure out if you took the planters out, what's the width?
It'd be 8 feet,
Okay.
6'8" plus 1'4".
And how much of that is aggregate?
It's not on the plans. I would assume 4 to 5 feet based on the,
Well, maybe the city knows.
I
Don't know.
think it does vary, depending on the,
So we don't know.
yeah.
One more. The floor plan shows a curtain that extends across the front seating area. So if that's opaque, does that comply with the ordinance, or do they have to maintain transparency into the space?
That is a very good catch.
It's, if I may,
Meaning,
It's inside
you
the building.
can't block a view into the space. It has to be 3, 4, 5 foot back or something, right?
yeah, naturally, it's a gray area. Our ordinance states that you can't block windows with the back of shelves, signs, or other opaque materials. We went over this a little bit when we did our whole window glazing update to reduce the visual light transmittance. If you recall, it got tossed back to us because the commissioner at the time was like, well, we're doing all this work. Why don't we discuss window blinds and the kind of settings we're seeing around town where we have these big, beautiful windows covered up by blinds. Ultimately, we
AAA.
decided as a board that it was sort of an impossible hill to climb to try to regulate blinds. I think it would just generally be in our hopes that they'd keep them open as much as they can, but we do not have anything directly that regulates blinds or curtains that are sun-related.
no, this is a slab.
It is a slub,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
and I think it's a worthwhile question.
And I thought the whole intent of the bistro was to be able to see
Sure,
see
open
the
and
activity,
engaging.
not create a
This is
private
not a
space.
bistro, though, and I think that's, we
Well,
got to be careful.
Okay, good point, good point.
Other questions of staff? I've got a couple. So this is not a bistro, correct?
Not a bistro.
Liquor license.
We have nothing in the packet that indicates who the applicant is, who owns the liquor license, is it being brought in or is it being shared with Terra? I have nothing to show me how this connects to Terra. I have no opinion from the city attorney as to whether the license is appropriate to use that way. I don't have a menu, I don't have hours of operation, I don't have anything that tells me what this is. Now, for a bistro, I'm shut down, I'm not listening anymore. However, I don't know what our role is with regard to a license that exists in this town, because I'm not sure, I've done one in a long time. So I don't want to over-dramatize this, but I don't really know what our role in regard to commenting on the fitness of the applicant for a license or the fitness of this space for alcohol, where that fine line is. One of those is a land planning matter, one isn't. Have you had any, I'm going to look at you and perhaps Mr. Dupuy, if you have any comment on any of what I just asked?
I totally do, and I'll take this one, an admission that it may have been an oversight. We just traditionally don't really include the applications in packets anymore because it's kind of, I mean, been unhelpful in the past, but perhaps in an occasion like this, it might have been nice to include it, so our bad on that.
No, that's fine.
They are here, so lucky for us to get to meet them.
I understand.
So
None of my comments are meant to say that I'm against this proposal. I just,
totally acknowledged,
I
yep.
want the i's
Yep.
dotted and t's crossed.
Very fair. So it is not a bistro, just again to restate, not a bistro. So it doesn't have to go through initial bistro screening where they consider fare, overdue property taxes, ability to house the establishment, anything like that. What this is an existing license that I am assuming, I guess I'm expecting they're seeking a permit endorsement for that allows them to open an additional bar on the premises. You noted in the report that the food will be prepared in Terra. It's not apples to apples, but very close to like the shipped sidecar slice situation on Willits, where they are 3 different restaurants, but they use the same liquor license. Very similar, operated by the same owner of Terra, by the way. So it's an additional permit endorsement from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. So our city code requires, of course, transfers to be reviewed, but also new permit endorsements to be reviewed by the city generally. There's a couple of things that we need to review for permit endorsements. I would say in your purview, there's a specific requirement to review the zoning and make sure all the zoning requirements are met, which is what we're doing. So following this, so you know, when we take this special land use to the city commission, there will be a police investigation report that gets done and furnished to the city commission to ensure that everything's on an even keel with the owner and the liquor license itself. So they will review that, ensure that everything's up to snuff. Not necessarily in this board's purview. Lastly, I will at least suggest to you that, because you mentioned it, it is a SLUP. So we are making a recommendation on the SLUP. And we do have those 6 or 7 or so standards, 6 it is, of approval for a special land use permit, that the city commission shall determine the following. So if there's anything that you discover that is health, safety, welfare, or incompatible, those are things we certainly can discuss and include in a recommendation for the special land use permit. So I hope that clarifies most of it. I think, just as a brief note, they did include hours of operation. I think it was, what was it?
Yeah, so there's hours of operation in your packet.
6 to 12,
I
something
guess
like
they
that.
didn't give the start time necessarily, but Wednesday through
Open
Sunday
until
until 2 a.m. and Monday and Tuesday
Okay.
reserved for private events.
So
So I
maybe
guess
halfway there.
we don't know what time they're opening on those days.
Okay. Okay, so there's no liquor control commission issues for us, this body.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay,
So, but I think I have a couple of questions for the applicant when we get there.
well, let's do that then. Okay. But as far as our role in this, it's zoning and site plan for the most part.
Yeah, although, as you noted, they blend a little.
Right, exactly. Okay. Any other questions for staff before we bring the applicant up? The applicant is here. If we could come forward and introduce yourself and maybe try to help fill in some of the holes and move forward.
See what I can do to help you out. Kevin Biddison, Biddison Architecture, 320 Martin Street. Good to see you all again this evening. We're excited about this new little restaurant. I'll see if I can pick up on a few of the items, and if I miss something, feel free to chime in. Let's just start with the couple of outside area questions. If you look at the plan, there's a large pier. It's about 3.5 feet wide or so, just to the right of the yellow there, right there at the fingertips. So straight out from that is where the current bike rack is. And then which is out 3 feet from the edge of the street. So there is roughly 8 feet between that pier and the current bike rack. The trash can is kind of one that floats in a few different places along there if you look at the sidewalk. But I actually had a subsequent conversation with Mr. Dupuis regarding that. I have a suggestion, since this is really the only trash that seems to be along this full block along the Palladium here, that honestly it would make a whole lot more sense for this trash to be pushed maybe another 10 or 12 feet to the west, there's about a 3-foot section between the double doors on 28 and the first pair of double doors going into the Palladium, straight up from there. And I would say probably 75% of the stuff that goes in and out of that can comes in and out of the Palladium. It would certainly make a lot more sense to me to have it closer to the source of what it is. And it seems that, the trash around the city gets placed in different positions to light poles and everything else. So I would just suggest that might be something that could be considered for that to be shifted. I think it's a better operating location. In response to the bike rack, we have looked at it. We did discuss the ability to, we can rotate 45 degrees those couple of tables that are up against the glass, and we can use just a slightly longer table and put 2 people on each side, and we can pull that, we can pull that space in to allow that 5 foot. We weren't really concerned about the 5 foot so much because it was all the way to the edge of where, where the shrubs and everything were there, but if there's a concern with that, we do have a way to make that work dimensionally, and we could provide an updated, dimension plan to Mr. Dupuy to approve in that instance. Relative to, the curtain and such, part of that is aesthetic. We have curtains in a couple of other areas, blocking air as you come in, blocking bathroom screening, blocking things that are like that. So it's part of the aesthetic of the space. Also helps a little bit with sound, but again, that's something we can discuss with this body larger. At the very least, we would probably maybe like to keep them so that they're, in an open position on the sides. Again, more of an aesthetic position because the seating in here is either at the bar where the sushi will be made, will be served and cut up for them, or in these more casual seating areas, and it's just part of the aesthetic. So that's something we can have a conversation about if you need to further. The sign, we are locating that on the existing stone wall in the corner, almost up against the storefront. It is below what would be the 12-foot sign band, but because of, the large Palladium marquee and all of that, there really isn't a good spot to do that. We felt this was an appropriate location, but we can certainly, if planning, or this board wants to, have us take another look at that, we're certainly happy to do it. It's basically a cutout steel sign that would be pin mounted to the wall, to the existing stone wall. Not sure what else, but Randy Vermeer is here, who's the owner of Terra. This is going to be primarily fish, sushi, so this is going to be brought in fresh every day. I'll let him, he can talk a little bit further to that. So it's, it's not a cooking operation in that sense. And we think it's kind of an interesting kick to other things that are around here. So happy to answer any other specific questions you might have. Not sure if I've missed something, but happy to help what I can. Yes, sir.
Questions for the applicant?
Mr. Blunt?
Just confirm the address, please, of the building, of your site.
211.
211. The chairman rightly, I think, raised the history of this space. So could I just confirm with you that this is not the same venue as Blue Martini? And I think that's important because this is about a third of the size of 201 Hamilton, which was the address of the Blue Martini. And I think, just for the record, it is important that we review the history of the building and the challenges there were of that particular space many years ago. Scott, 15?
Yes. Oh, yeah, 20 years ago.
So it's not the same space as was originally Blue Martini.
And to be clear, that was purely a lounge, a bar.
I think so. I was,
In fact, I think they had a basement.
right.
Basement with dance?
This is all one level, first floor, open window, restaurant
what you
concept
see is
with
what you
alcohol,
have, yeah.
cocktail lounge with alcohol.
These were my 2 second questions.
Yes, sir.
Are you using the basement, which obviously is there somewhere?
No.
And secondly, it's not the same because the other place was a quote nightclub. Thank you.
The other question that came up, just in terms of what, it was the cryo center store. I don't remember exactly what the real name of that. That's what was in there before.
Whatever that is.
It's been a few years.
We'll spin it around, Ms. Wibbleman.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions, please. You suggested that you would change the outdoor seating to accommodate the bike rack rather than move the bike rack. Did I hear that
I'm
right?
just saying, we've had conversations, we have some ability if we could. I mean, we'd probably rather have the extra, foot or foot and a half in there, especially if this board is amenable to relocating the trash container to a better spot. Even as it sits right now, because of where it's positioned, kind of off the corner of the outside dining space, there's, I think, about 3'8" to 4 feet in between there. It's just not the full 5 feet. So, but I get it. So that's really, I guess, obviously we'd prefer to hang on to the foot if we can, but if we can't, that's.
Okay. I'll say just, I like what you've proposed as far as what's outside, and I'd much rather see the bike rack on or relocated rather than changing what you've done. And especially, I would not like to see the greenery eliminated in the front of it. So that's just my opinion. But I have a second question. So looking at the floor plan of the interior of the restaurant, everything we see behind the bar, is that stuff for making drinks and nothing to do with making sushi? Or is it both?
There would be coolers and stuff that back there, because the fish would be brought in, and stuff would come in every day and be cut before.
But is there a sushi chef here
Yeah,
behind
there-
this counter? So
sushi
someone's
stuff.
actively cooking or not cooking, preparing sushi behind this counter?
Yeah, this, part of this operation would be what's called a omakase, which means it's prepared, and it's kind of, you have the ability to have the chef decide what kind of sushi you want, so to speak. So it's a little bit more kind of an interactive scenario. But there would be, both of those things would happen. There would be coolers and such for that, and then there would also be, there would be alcohol back there as well.
Thanks for clearing it up.
Since you brought it up, I'm going to jump in real quickly. I apologize. You brought up the patio. I haven't, my only issue really with the entire proposal is, and this is not going to come to a shock to anybody that knows me, it's going to be the impact of the pedestrian movements on Hamilton. And I will say that in my personal opinion, exposed aggregate is not ADA compliant. It's not, it is slippery. It can cause issues with women in heels, people pushing strollers, people in wheelchairs. So for you to try and use that as any part of your 5-foot clear, in my opinion, and that's just all it is inappropriate. Furthermore, you're pushing people way too far off a trajectory, if we were to look at the aerial of that area, way too far off the trajectory, so that anybody with a visual challenge is going to find that very difficult to maneuver. So in my opinion, as much as I love what you proposed, I agree, I love the planters and I want to keep them. I personally think you have to eliminate those two tops and pull this thing back close to where the edge of that pier is in order to preserve 5 feet clear of pedestrian space that is ADA compliant. And I'll tell you that I'm pretty firm on that. I love the concept. Cool. Let's go for it. I can't let you get away with something that's going to put potentially people at risk and disadvantage those with potentially, physical
I don't
challenges.
think they own this.
Lastly, my only other comment since I got the floor is the only thing I would say on the curtain, the front curtain along the front window facade, if you want to keep it for aesthetics, great, but it's got to be open. I don't want it to even be able to close. We need to see in. That's kind of part of the whole point of the urban setting is these active windows. So if you want to kind of pull it, and so it's always open, even cut it that way, cool, you're ecstatic. I just want to see the activity inside. I want to see the light pour out a little bit, know that this space is active and not the basement of something else. So we'll move on from there. I know, Mr. Scheer, you had a...
Yeah, I think, first of all, I agree with the chairman about the two tops, but my issue's a little bit different. I was out there over the weekend kind of walking out of the cinema, thank you, and, kind of making that left turn. And I just found that it extends too far, particularly with the, well, I mean, you can move the trash can, but the bike rack, it just puts people off. And there will be moments when people are coming out of that, kind of in bunches. So I'm not excited at all about the two-top, and I would, suggest stopping it somewhere like right at the pier line. But a couple questions about your liquor license. I assume that this is a normal Class C license?
Yeah, I'll let,
You can please introduce yourself for the record. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Jonah. I'm with the Palladium of Birmingham LLC. It's a family company run by A.F. Jonah Development Management. We are securing a Class C liquor license that's already in the city that would come for the space. Randy is here as an operator. There's different ownerships between Terra, but they've done such a great job that we thought it was a good fit for the city of Birmingham and Terra's operation to manage this also. So there is similarities, but it is different on the back end. And Randy's here too that can talk through all
Is
the
the
operations.
Class C license, is it Terra's license or is it a separate license?
No, it is a separate license.
Separate license, okay. And are you applying for any permits, like a dance permit or any of those things?
Nope. This is more of a restaurant serving high-end fish that will be fresh fish that's cut up and served on some rice, more of the sashimi nigiri style than the actual sushi rolls also. So it's a unique twist on it.
What about the private events? Is that going to be the same thing, or is it going to be?
It's similar to every event, and I'll let Randy come and talk a little bit more about the operations, but it's similar to every restaurant here that has small private events that they use space. It's not necessarily built for a private event. It's going to be open to the public and on the hours that are there, but if there's a special request, that it's a very unique space. So I'm sure they would want the ability to have a private event just because of the size and nature of it.
So the question, let me focus the question. When you have private events, is the restaurant can essentially be, for lack of a better term, catering it so that it's the same concept, or are private people going to be able to bring in their own?
No. This is meant for the restaurant to serve their food at their establishment.
Okay.
It's not a party room that could be leased out and not. Then the intent is here for it to be a restaurant serving high-end fish that is not somewhere we can. There's not really another omasaki place that we could compare this to. It's very unique, and it's a special use for this. The space has been sitting vacant for a fairly long time. It's more difficult retail space. It does sit back, so we thought this would be a good use for the space and to bring some more life to this part of town.
Would you, so I have even though this is not the Blue Martini space,
No.
I have given the number of establishments that are open between midnight and 2 a.m. in town, which is not that many, and the tendency to those late hours establishment to draw a more boisterous group of people. I've got some concerns about being open between noon and 2. And I guess, one of the
Midnight
things.
and 2?
Midnight and 2, thank you. Yeah. I'm a night owl. Between midnight and 2. So that's a concern of mine. So one question is, how critical is it for you, at least certainly while this gets up and running, to have midnight to 2 a.m. operating hours?
I'm going to have to call Randy up to talk about this more in detail, the hour of the operations. This was put together with the mindset that it is not a bar, so it's not going to be people standing at a bar. You have to have a seat to actually be in the restaurant. It's not considered. It's all hanging over someone while they're eating. some expensive, high-grade fish that reaching over for a drink. That's not the case here. This is a restaurant first. Blue Martini, when we purchased the building, 10 years ago almost now, or more than 10 years ago, it was in the basement, and we did not want that establishment in the building. We actually demoed out the entire space down there, and it is parking there right now. And we've been very selective on how and what we treat with this building. It is a major asset of ours that we protect, and we don't want that as much as you guys, the whole city of Bremen does. And Randy can explain more of his operations and how he runs Terra and how we feel comfortable with him as the operations here, that he is able to maintain a very good, clean restaurant crowd over a bar. And it is a fine line in the restaurant industry, but he does a great job on it, where everyone has to have a seat at his bar in Terra, where it's a very large bar too. And he keeps a certain element of a stigma of a bar outside of the restaurant, and that's the same thing we're going for here. So it is not a bar first, where it's going to be a nightclub at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not what we want here. It's we want to protect our asset here just as much as everyone wants to see a good restaurant succeed. So.
Can I ask Nick a question?
Sure.
Nick, do we, in the SLUP, do we have the ability to, in our recommendation, condition it on keeping the same sushi concept?
As long as you feel that however you craft such a condition aligns with 7.36, the special land use requirements, paraphrasing a bit, promoting intent and purpose, compatibility, those types of things. So if you feel as though it's important enough to rise to the level of one of those requirements, then sure.
I mean, my concern, just so you know, and your operator can address it, is that if a year into this, the sushi concept isn't viable for any reason, who knows, could be anything, I guess I want to be certain that, that the concept, particularly if it's open from midnight to 2, and I'm kind of inclined to say, okay, midnight to 2 in this concept, but other concepts, maybe not. So.
I understand.
I think we've brought it up a number of times while you're here. Just, you said something, and I want to make sure it's on the record. Any of the issues in the past with Blue Martini was never when you or your organization had any ownership in the building, correct?
Absolutely not.
You had nothing to do with that?
No, we actually purchased this building when it was completely vacant.
Right.
And we put a short-term operator.
I want to make sure that's on the record, so no one gets any confusion with that.
Stephen Ross.
Stephen Ross.
No, we actually demoed out the space completely.
Understood.
It's parking down below. Happy to walk anyone through there, so.
Thank you.
Just
Last question before we go to the
quick comment. We have this 5-foot sort of minimum path. This is an unusual circumstance. You have herds of people hopefully coming and going to the theater, coming out at the same time, many of them making a left to the east to the parking structure. So it has that pinch point. We don't want to force people walking on the curb or in the street, or so I agree. I think it's attractive to have, and defines that space a little bit. I mean, this is nothing to do with planning, but it's like, how would I know this place even, it has no differentiation other than those planters, that there's a restaurant here versus going into the theater. And so I think the sign is a tasteful way to do it, and maybe you need a variance to do that. So maybe if you get rid of those couple of tables and keep the planters and push them back, and, maybe they even extend across your front door and you go in sideways or something. But, so that's my only concern.
Okay. So I know the operator is here. Love for you to come forward if you don't mind, introduce yourself. Maybe just answer a couple of questions again, just about the operation of the place. Is there table service at these couches and lounge chairs, et cetera? Just how things going to work?
Yeah, Randy Fumial, owner of Terra Kitchen and Cocktails. I saw you guys once upon a time. We're just trying to bring in a different vibe of a good element of great fish, fresh, flowing in, something that really hasn't been in the area. But the space it's not huge, so it's going to be kind of intimate at the same time, because the size of it, of course. But yeah, everything will be served, people can sit at the bar and get the, fresh sushi chef experience. If you've ever been anywhere that you sat at the, sushi bar, you call it. We will also do like craft cocktails, something different. I don't know if anyone has seen what we've been doing at Terra, but, we have a great cocktail program there. But yeah, we'll have, servers, and everyone will be attended to inside, outside.
Okay. Mr. Chair, you
And I guess my question was, what do you expect Wednesday through, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, midnight to 2?
So I know you're big on the midnight to 2 thing. It's one of the things that it's kind of, if someone is sitting there and having dinner, and they're just comfortable, right? And just sitting down and enjoying dinner, and they're just sitting there until 1. We're not going to tell anyone to get up. Our goal isn't to sit there and stay there until, 2, and if there's really no business for it. I mean, Terra right now on Fridays and Saturdays, we close at 1 a.m. And our kitchen stays open until midnight. But we do a pretty good job of not allowing, I don't want to say, the good crowd or bad crowd, but we do a good job of, when our bar is full, we're not allowing the extra seating behind our bar, where people are reaching over people, and we treat our bar as people sit down and eat there. So we don't want hands reaching over people. So we turned down quite a few people, just for that reason, because we're restaurant first, and that's how we treat it.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to open it to the public now. If there's anyone from the public who would care to comment, you can either come forward here, or if you're at home, you can use the raise your hand function in the middle of Zoom. I don't see any hands going up. I see no one standing up, so we will bring it back to the board. All right, board. And we've heard a lot of discussion. I will say that for the issue I brought up with regard to the license and all of that, I'm satisfied with the direction and not concerned about anything lacking. I think we've had good explanation from the applicant, and I think that the owner of the building has done an excellent job in their time owning the building. So I have no issues other than the one I raised about the drapery and the patio.
Chair Klein, if I may, if the motion's coming. On that note, just out of an abundance of caution, will you include in whatever recommendation you make that we follow through and verify all of the liquor license issues that we talked about, just to be thorough, just so they know we're looking at it, and just so that we're tight when we get to City Commission? I think it'd just be hopefully an unnecessary condition, but
I don't think that
worth an add.
puts the applicant in any bad spot, Ms. Boyce.
So I had a few reservations before you guys got up tonight and talked to us about it. And a couple of those things were, to me, this floor plan is very loungy and not very restaurant-y. There are some tables where you might eat, but a lot of this is lounging and cocktails and hanging out, and which is nice and fine and okay. And particularly with this small venue, I'm not too terribly concerned. Although I did have, one of my questions, and it was answered before I even asked it, was how late is Terra open? Because if we're using Terra's food and kitchen for this restaurant, and Terra's kitchen closes at midnight, so there's another 2 hours of cocktails presumably here. Your explanation about how you run it and how you manage it, and there's people seated, not standing, that makes me more comfortable. There isn't a hostess stand in the drawing or a place where someone would greet you when you come in and seat you. So I probably should have asked that while you were still at the mic. But so I just want to be sure it's not standing room only till 2 o'clock in the morning, drinking and causing commotion for people who live around there. I think you've answered that it's not, but hopefully you have a plan to seat people and make sure they're seated, because the drawings don't show anyone being greeted at the door. I think what I've heard tonight is we're comfortable with 8 chairs on the outside. I think that if we don't want a curtain in the front, we should say no curtain, because we all know that if we ask you to leave it open, that staff working there or people dining there might close it, and then it'll just be a code enforcement kind of thing. So we probably should just omit it altogether, I would think. And my only other thought was, if the bike rack stays and the dining gets pushed back, because I don't know exactly where it is in relation to the dining, is there still a comfortable path for walking when bikes are actually hooked up to it? Just wanted to be clear that we shouldn't maybe just plan to move the bike rack anyway, but maybe that's something you guys can just follow up with later on to make sure, because
Maybe an administrative
I would think so,
part
right?
of just the process of.
We're looking at a picture that has just an empty bike rack, but when and if there are bikes, is that going to come into conflict with the outdoor dining? I don't know exactly, but just something to think about.
Good point.
So, I love your sign. I don't know if that has to be, go to the BZA or not, but, looks great to me, and, that's all I have.
Mr. Blunt?
I think it's great. I agree with the curtain, because I think the reason for taking that front curtain away, I'm not concerned about the inside, but the front curtain might take away the brightness, the window, the color, which this area badly needs.
Yes.
And I would say that the operator of the movie theater would probably be cheating this, because this would bring light and activity down the street. It's currently a dead street. Nobody wants to walk next to Comerica Bank, but nobody really wants to walk past the theater because it doesn't have color. This would bring color and life and activity to that corner. So I'm very much in favor of having the light pouring out onto that 365 days a year. I can see the chairperson's point about the sidewalk. I think pulling it in that would be, I think, valuable, and I would be in favor of that. Other than that, I think this is what this street needs, and if you can bring it and make it alive, then great.
Great. All right, any other comments, Mr. Chair?
So this is the unusual case where the conditions of the SLUP, or the issue of the SLUP, is significantly different than the issue of the site plan, in my mind. And I remain concerned about not this particular use. I think this use is fine, but I'm concerned about potential future uses with the, its own separate Class C license, potentially available till 2 in the morning. So one other comment now before I forget it. I think that we ought to include in these approvals a requirement that there be table service at the outdoor dining. That's something that I've seen isn't necessarily the case all through town, and I'd like to see it standardized. But back to the main point, I want to suggest tying the SLUP approval to the, I'll call it, I don't have the Japanese word, but the high-end sushi concept, for fear that the applicant is certainly free to change it as a business person, but if they do, we end up with something other than what we've got, what we're promised, with the potential for a problem in the downtown area.
Might I respectfully suggest, instead of the granular detail of the specific type of food, use a term such as restaurant or some other use that means that they're going to have food served as part of their service? That way, if they do change, forgive me, it becomes a taco bar, a taco restaurant with, I don't know, they don't have to come back before us so we can say tacos versus sashimi?
Yeah,
That's a horrible example, but I just...
No, I think that's fine, and I don't know if there's a standard that, a quote, restaurant takes in X percent
Food service? I mean,
food service or
Is
not.
there a definition, Mr. Dupuy?
Nothing zoning related. There may be something MLCC related, but we've all been in places that serve a bag of chips and call it food service. So, or maybe just I have, I don't know.
What's that?
So, I guess I'm not uncomfortable with the notion of, but primarily a restaurant
Oh, you see.
establishment as opposed to a bar or tavern establishment.
And let me just check before, we might have a definition in food or drink establishment. I just can't remember. I don't think we do.
So if that's all right, I'll be happy to make a
Why don't you give it a whirl?
motion.
We'll see where we go.
This is on the special land use.
Okay.
As opposed to the
H,
site plan.
H1.
All right, so I move the planning board adopt the findings of the planning department in the report dated July 23, 2000. Is that August 23? Did I
Probably.
misread that?
Oh, August 27. I guess we didn't change the date.
August 27, 2025. Pardon me, got to get down to it again.
It's been a long summer.
Related to the approval criteria outlined in Article 7, Section 7.36 of the zoning ordinance. Looks like we have some, and approve the, and with, with particular reference to subsections 2 and 5 of Article 7.36, and we recommend City Commission approve the special land use permit application for 211 Hamilton Row, subject number 28, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant must comply with the requests of all city departments. Number 2, the applicant provide table service to the outdoor dining during all hours of operation. Number 3, the applicant operate an establishment that is primarily a restaurant and not primarily a bar or tavern.
4.
And,
Number 4.
well, I'm not sure that we need 4 here. I think,
Yeah, you got the
want to go with
5
the...
foot.
You got the 5 foot clear and
Well, I think that's a,
That's a planning thing.
I think that's a site plan issue.
Okay. I agree.
But I'm not sure about whether the curtain's a site plan issue or a special land use permit.
Put it in both.
Okay. Number 4, that the no curtain be installed at the entryway as shown on the plans.
Do you mean the front window?
The front window, is that where it is? Wherever it was. In the front, not the back.
Yeah.
Front, but just the front.
Support?
Okay.
Motion, Mr. Scher, support, Mr. Boyle. Conversation, Mr. Dupuy, you have a comment?
Would you be willing to add in this particular motion the condition about the liquor license that we verify all?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, that added number 5, that the city's investigation of the applicant's liquor license status confirms all representations in compliance with all statutory and regulatory requirements.
Mr. Boyle, is that
I'll accept
accepted?
that.
Can I just clarify something?
Ms.
Just
LaFois?
about the curtain. You said in the front window or in the front of the restaurant. I think the one piece of curtain is sort of a breeze airlock kind of condition so that in the winter hours, cold air doesn't come rushing in. So
The intent was along the front
do we
window.
mean just the piece along the front window and allow them to leave that little arched piece that would,
That's what I meant. Is that
what I
you
I just want to make sure
That's
that
what I meant. I meant
it's all clear.
the
what you meant, Mr. Boyle.
horizontal parallel with the property line.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments about the motion for special land use? To the public, does anybody have a comment from the public? If you are at home, you can use the raise your hand function about the motion to recommend approval of the special land use portion of this project. Seeing no hands go up, seeing no one come up, we will bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion unanimous. Now, Mr. Shear, final site plan and design review. You want to take a stab?
Yeah. I move the planning board adopt the findings of the planning department in the report dated August 22, 2025.
August 27th.
27?
Yep.
2025, related to the approval criteria outlined in Article 7, Section 727 of the zoning ordinance. And, I guess we get to approve the final site plan and design review application for 211 Hamilton Row, number 28, subject to the following conditions. Number one, the applicant submit revised plans detailing a clear, unobstructed 5-foot pedestrian path by removing the two top tables south of the property line. I think that's an adequate, correct description. Number two, that the applicant remove the curtain parallel to the property line, but not the airlock curtain. Number three,
Bicycle rack.
the applicant maintain their special land use permit. Number four, the applicant must provide clear sign designs for signage to meet the zoning ordinance, although the planning board finds the proposed wall signage to be desirable.
Acceptable measure.
And lastly, the applicant must comply with the requests of all city departments. Did I miss anything?
Support.
Mr. Dupuy?
We made a slight mistake. August 22nd is correct. I scrolled up and saw August 22nd is the date of this report. The 27th, of course, today is the date of the meeting.
Yeah,
So we said 27th in the special land use motion.
so let's leave that to be corrected.
So if it's all right with you all, we'll use August 22nd because that is what the report is dated.
Yep.
Correct.
The intent was to use the date of the report.
We have a motion by Mr. Scheer, seconded by Mr. Boyle, corrected by Mr. Dupuy. Do we have any conversation about the motion? Comments on the motion?
Can I ask you a question?
You may ask a question, Chair, please.
Just relative to the 5-foot clear area, would it be acceptable to allow us to look at that and work with Mr. Dupuy and see, make sure we get the 5-foot, but maybe that's not exactly attached to those tables? I don't know how that, how that works, but.
I think it was clear from the conversation tonight that you need 5 feet of clear space that does not include exposed aggregate in any portion of it.
Understood.
And you need 5 feet that does not bump into a bike rack. So if those can be accomplished,
And I just want to go back
Well,
out and
no,
look at it.
I think
that's all.
there's one other element of it, which I think I would like to see back if they do it, is I don't want to see, without really seeing more detailed drawings and some more discussion, the tables extending beyond that property line. I'm main concerned about the pinch point as people come out of the movie theater. So I'm not comfortable administratively dealing with it.
unless they just simply remove those and move it back to
Yeah.
the pier like
Right.
we had talked about.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Okay.
Any other conversation about the motion to the public about the motion? Is there anyone from, I guess I'm doing that right now. Hearing no more public, we'll bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck. We hope to see you up and running soon. When do you think you might be at least targeting here?
Probably like New Year, February, March.
Congratulations.
He's got to
Good
get
luck.
through the city commission first.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, so,
A little bit.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
All right, let's move forward with the study session item tonight, which is the zoning ordinance update, the RFP.
One more.
What's that? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Plan.
2333 Cole Street, I apologize. We do have a request for a final site plan and design review. However, I see that the applicant has requested to postpone until the October meeting. Is that correct, Ms. Blitzky?
Yeah, that's okay. So it should be pretty straightforward, hopefully. They submitted an application for final site plan and design review for the major renovation of existing one-story building in the MX district.
Is that the date of the October meeting?
Which includes the removal of 2 portions of the building as well as a major facade renovation, site work, landscaping, and potentially signage. The renovated building would bring additional commercial uses to the rail district of Birmingham on August 13, 2025. The last meeting, you all had a conversation with them, a pre-application discussion with the planning board to request general feedback on the proposal. And so post that discussion, tonight, they're requesting that you postpone this to the date certain of October 22nd, 2025. The email's included in your packet, just the reason being they just need to continue working on the plans before they come before you.
Okay. Board, any concerns? No. I mean, I think we saw this coming when we saw it last time, so. All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to postpone consideration of the final site plan and design review for 2333 Cole Street Station to October 22, 2025.
Motion, Mr. Williams. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Kozak. Thank you. Conversation there, board? To the public? Bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion unanimous. Now we get to talk about the zoning RFP. I was so excited to see an RFP. I just breezed through.
Yeah, like.
That you don't have to respond.
That I don't have to respond to.
Yeah, and work all night on.
Mr. Dupuy.
Yes, the words, I was so excited to see an RFP is not really something I hear a lot, but, so this is round 2, your second time looking at this draft RFP. I think the feedback from last time was simple. It's not to diminish the feedback, it was just that substantively it seemed like the content was good, which was nice to hear. I believe that I've made all of those changes. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but I believe I was pretty thorough in making sure that I made all the changes, at least the changes that there was very clear consensus on. I know there were a couple of things that we were kind of, maybe we shouldn't change it. But just to restate for you all, maybe for the public listening in, everything in red, of course, will turn to black. It's just a reminder for me to triple, quadruple check my dates and my attachments and exhibits, make sure everything lines up. So everything will be in black text, of course, when the time comes. I do want to at least point out one thing because I thought it might be a good idea to add based on the results of our joint meeting that we had with the City Commission back in June, which is this 4th bullet point in the project initiation, which reads, develop initial public communications strategies regarding the zoning ordinance update and scope of work. It seemed clear to me that they felt as though we should start almost right away communicating what this is, what we're doing, what it's not, things like that. And why not have the consultant help us with that, work with our communications team and things. So I thought it was a worthwhile add. That was the only addition to this list. Everything else was modified as you requested. A couple of tweaks to the agreement. The one thing I do want to talk to you about is these deliverables. I think perhaps I can make them a little bit more, how should I say? I could explain a little bit more about what this means. Like, what does 50% completion mean? I struggled to, before we got the agenda out, think of a way to describe what 50% completion meant to us, and I didn't want to leave it so arbitrary. So I was thinking I might ask you for a little bit of help, in your opinion, what 50% might mean. My only idea at this point is using these here, the scope of work. So potentially 50% means 1 through 4, for example, something like that. I'm not sure, but I'm open to feedback on that specifically. Everything else, I think, almost forgot. I made another big change, which was the outline. No, I'm lost. the evaluation procedure and criteria.
Perfect.
It was
Yeah.
based on your comments, but I changed it quite a bit, and I wanted to make sure to at least draw attention to it. I feel as though it addressed your comments. Whether or not you agree with the weights, I spent a good deal of time on it, considering this, that, or the other. This is the other section I'd really like to make sure to talk through.
And we shall.
Other than that,
We have comments.
okay, well,
Rest
good,
assured.
good, good. So you tell me where you'd like to start. I'm ready to hear.
Start on page 9.
Well, I'll just say real quickly, I think,
Yikes.
again, you guys have done an excellent job, and I'm very happy with the direction. So, good job. Let's just start there. You're on page 9, so I know, Mr. Kozak, I think you had some thoughts on this.
Yeah, are we going to talk about the 50% and 75%?
We'll get back to that.
Oh, we'll get back to
A lot
that.
of
Okay.
comments on that.
Regarding this, I would simplify this. So you've listed 6 items.
Well, you're on that, okay.
Evaluation.
Yeah.
Page 9.
You know, so
Page 9.
I'm going to say, I would recommend that your item number 2 becomes number 1. That's really important. We want to make sure that we're working with somebody who has experience as a firm and as individuals. You might even see individuals and team, and that they've worked together, so that's fine. Number 2, I would make quality of past work and references. So show us what you've done, and hopefully we'll follow up on those references to make sure that past clients are pleased with the work that's been done. And then the next item, I would combine, to me, the first item, understanding of project goals and approach, I would lump with, and maybe get rid of some of these words, but work plan, timeline, project management, community engagement, communication strategy. So to me, those are all very similar, and I could see one section where someone speaks to, their first paragraph is going to be, this is my understanding of the project. This is the path that I suggest we take based on, and tasks based on past experience and timeline. I don't know what project management is. Maybe that speaks to how you're going to facilitate this with the public or something, and community engagement. So I think those can be lumped together. And then lastly, the cost proposal. And then, so I think that just simplifies it. And in terms of how I would weight these things, I guess I have 2 thoughts on that. One is that the first 2 items, experience, firm, and people would be 25%, past work references 25%, so you're halfway there. Understanding project goals, approach, plan, all of that, which is where they begin to bring their creativity and their approach as to how they're going to facilitate the project for us. I'm at 35%. And then the fee, I was at 15. So I could play with those numbers a bit.
But the point of emphasis here is the qualifications and the quality of past work would be significantly increased in terms of percentage of grades.
So I mean, if you don't have experience in this, why are you even responding? The most, so I hope we get past that pretty quickly. So everybody's going to score, well there, I would hope. And then understanding of the project, that's the bulk of it, really making sure that they understand who we are, what's unique about Birmingham, and the challenges before them, and then the fee. I wouldn't expect, the fees are, we went through this with the ad hoc committee, and the fees, like, the guy with the lowest fee got the most points. The guy with the 2 people were really, it's kind of weird, and everybody had a different approach. And in the end, it worked out fine, I think. We just kind of used our own instincts, but, so I would just simplify it. I think it would help the respondents to very clearly understand what's important to us, and then in terms of how it's weighted, I could play with that a little bit.
Okay. For the record, I generally like the concept. I would potentially be convinced to pull community engagement out as its own, because we want to emphasize that, and maybe lumping it in with others kind of devalues it. I'm nitpicking a little, though. But I think generally your percentages and your combinations make sense to me, Mr. Kozak. And I think it should be about the qualifications, experience, and
Right.
quality of work more than it is about how much it's going to cost. So I'm down with that. Other thoughts? Mr. Boyle?
When we say references, are we implying that we will ask for such?
Yeah, I believe somewhere in here we asked
did.
for a minimum.
I thought we did.
Yeah, at least 3, including references from at least 3.
Okay.
If you think it should be more, I suppose, I don't know, but.
No.
No, I'm asking a
Does it give a
question.
time
And
period?
I've been retired a long time, but
Does it say
in my
3?
world, during my time, references were a really big deal. Since then, I've heard the very opposite. That references are a thing of the past, not to be applied because they may not actually reflect the work that a particular
Too many
person or
lawyers
company has
involved
done.
in that.
I'm only raising it because we actually use the word.
We experience, people are cautioned to say negative things. That's the reality of the references now. But,
Right.
but there are other ways to get at it other than statements. You're not going to hear disparaging comments.
But we are asking for it. It's all.
Well, you can ask for it, but you won't get it.
Right.
But you'll get references maybe to projects, and there are other ways to get it information other than comments.
Fine.
But to the point, if someone's going to put in their 3 best projects, and one of them was an experience where
Yeah, they're not
they're
gonna-
afraid of submitting the reference because the person's going to get a call, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just assume the project was great, but the way they handled it was awful. And you call the person up and they say, well, yeah, we did it, we finished, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just raising it.
Yeah, well, people are more cautious now than they were 20 years ago.
Okay, good, good. That's fine to accept. Keep it there.
But we need it.
Any other thoughts on this particular section?
Is there a timeline on how far back you go to look at those 3 projects? I mean, some would say 5 years, but then, we've had recessions and things. All of a sudden, nobody did
I
anything.
would just leave it be.
Okay.
If we get,
They're not going to give something from 1992.
Well, we saw that.
We did,
We did
but
see a library that somebody managed 20 years ago.
yeah, if we get 3 from a long time ago, that tells you something.
Yeah, it does.
79.
All right.
Does that make sense, Mr. Dupuy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if, as a response, I think most of that is fine with me, but I too would like to keep community engagement on its own
I get it.
separate line,
Yeah,
especially based on what we've already
What weight
heard.
do we give it then?
I'd increase it.
I think we can work within the percentages that you suggested.
Okay,
Just to
okay.
pull it out. So whatever
Alright.
you said, if it was
Okay.
30%, we would just
Okay.
weight it appropriately.
Personally, I wouldn't even mind taking proposal down to 10 and throwing that 5 up into community, but that's just me.
But the theme being cost proposal being the least.
So what are you asking when it says community engagement, community, communication strategy? So are you asking for them to propose how they
Yes.
intend to?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What types of things, what
Absolutely.
types of engagements, what platforms, what tools?
How often, how many?
Yep.
Totally.
When we did the senior ad hoc RFPs, there were surprising differences, but some of them had literally a team within their company that was dedicated to that and described different ways that they do it, and others of them, didn't, and that shows up in the quality of the proposal.
Okay.
Can't control what they submit.
And if somebody had to speculate on the reach of this, are there national firms that will submit on something like this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
They might.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You talked about deliverables, Mr. Dupuy.
Yeah, great.
I think we're on page 6. I found the 50 and 75% a little kind of arbitrary. Made my head
Totally.
tilt.
They totally are, yes.
My suggestion is to look at the scope of work that you've got called out here I mean, you've got project initiation and background review, which includes developing initial public communication strategies. Aren't you going to want to see a deliverable from that? Aren't you want to see like a memo, a document, a report, something that summarizes what they've done to show that that's going to be okay? I don't know that, is it going to come here and we're going to say, yeah, that's what we're going to do? Public engagement and stakeholder involvement, they're going to turn what they did in the proposal into a plan. Well, that plan has a start and an end as far as like development. They're going to deliver something to us. Same with the diagnostic report, the draft updated zoning ordinance, the map revisions. I mean, it seems to me that there are potentially 6 or even 7 different deliverables here potentially. I mean, I don't know if the administrative and procedural improvements needs its own deliverable or if it's kind of rolled up into something else. But I guess I'd look at it that way. You're giving us all of this as we move along. And then you'll give us a final draft. We'll review it and approve it, and you'll give us the final and
So I've
give
kind
it
of
to
already
the
got it
commission.
built in, you're saying? Like
I would explain it that way.
Yeah.
You know, whether you add bullets here and/or change the deliverables, you need to spell it out more.
Yeah.
But I would get rid of this 50-75% thing and just kind of go with something that ties into those 7 points.
Does it make it simpler to say, you know, the first tranche of payment, whatever it is when the draft report comes in? The second, because that's not going to happen until after the engagement takes place and so on.
You're tying it to payment?
Payment,
Well, that's a city.
partial payment.
That'll be a contract issue. I don't know that we have any real, I mean, they're going to get paid along the way. I'm not waiting 3 months to get paid if I'm a consultant. I'm submitting invoices monthly.
Yeah, that's in the.
Oh, I see. Okay, this is the submission of digital files. Well, I think it's the same thing, right? From utility, do we need anything more than do we need the file more than the report and more than the draft?
I think we're having a miscommunication. I think Mr. Dupuy was trying to figure out how often they need to submit something to us for review. And my point is that they're not simply going to submit 1 or 2 things. They're going to be submitting things to us throughout the entire project in order to ensure that we are on the
Oh,
same
I
page.
got you. I'm with you now.
Yeah.
I think it helps us understand, bring not necessarily closure, but, okay, we accept that, let's move on to the next piece.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess in thinking about this, in this introductory sentence, this section is usually reserved for what do we want at the end of the project, so final deliverables. Like, we used to ask for example, for the ordinance, 10 hard copies, just to be clear with people. So, which is why we're so specific about like 24 by 36 copies of the zoning map. So I don't want to, or do I, want to ask for 24 by 36 copies of the
No.
draft? So.
My suggestion to you would be that under deliverables, you have a first section that is interim deliverables, which is, you know, whatever you feel appropriate, report-wise, memo-wise, summary, for each of the 7 things above. And then you have final deliverables, which omits 1 and 2, and probably winds up with 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 listed as the 5 things they're going to give you at the end of the day.
I think that sounds nice. And
So-
if it's all cool with you, I would suggest in that interim deliverables, we'd be working exclusively digitally. I don't know that we would need a printed memo or a printed zoning map or anything. If you do, we can, if that's all cool with you, that's what I would like, but.
That's fine. Mr. Blood?
I'm going to put the question out there. I have no views on it, but I want to ask it. Do people ask about the consultant's use of AI? So I asked AI exactly that question, and the answer was yes. RFPs often ask about AI. That's just what AI told me, with a lot more stuff, obviously.
Interesting.
In terms of disclosure,
Well, how can
or,
I think that would align with the city's new AI policy anyway.
You got
So,
one?
The city has a AI policy
Wow.
that was updated in about a year ago.
It does?
Yeah.
and it's mostly for staff.
It's mainly internally for staff. No,
We won't be needed next
But-
year, by the way.
Yes. AI chairman next year. I would suggest then that perhaps working with the city manager and the city attorney, determine whether that's anything that needs to be placed into the RFP and/or the contract.
Okay.
No, it goes both ways. I mean, to be honest, if you think about it, it goes both ways. I mean, skillful use of AI might indeed improve the work of the consultant, but on the other hand, slavishly ripping off stuff from,
Trademark ownership.
Biloxi.
IP. Yeah. That's a good point.
Okay.
Think about it.
Good point.
Any other comments on the RFP?
I have a question. One thing I don't understand, on page 4, Nick, where'd it go? The first bullet in number 2, we're saying develop and implement a public engagement that includes a bunch of people, so residents, business owners, developers, institutions, and underserved communities. So what is it you're expecting this engagement to do? If I was a responder, I'm not sure I'd understand what I was supposed to do about developers, institutions, and underserved communities.
What's robust?
Forget that. That I can figure out. But the rest of it is that just what is it they're supposed to do?
That's a good question. Good point. I mean, Mr. Betwee, you talked about earlier about explaining what the project is, explaining what we're proposing to do, what we're not proposing to do, all along the way. I think is an important component that Mr. Scheer rightfully brings up. It's not in here.
I suppose, admittedly, and maybe wrongfully so, I don't know, or naively so, I would expect a firm to know what that means. When we talk public engagement in the planning sphere, to use another example, the city of Ferndale did specific public engagements where they showed a plan that said, hey, we're going to meet residents at this park for sustainability. We're going to go to this property owner, broker roundtable or something like that, in deliberate attempts to make sure that these stakeholders have an opportunity to provide input. And I guess I would hope that that's, again, maybe naively so, that's sort of a regular thing that happens in projects such as this. Sort of just like planning lingo.
Right, but what is your intent with community engagement? What's the goal that you explain in 3 or 4 words or a sentence that all of this supports?
Gotcha.
Educating the public, explaining what we're doing, obtaining input.
Start there, yeah.
Feedback. I mean,
And why it's important, why their input's important.
So
perhaps it's even just adding a few words to the ends of these
yeah,
sentences.
that's what I was going to ask is where we're going, just to kind of clarify.
Mr. Scheer, is that?
Yeah, well, I think it's two things. First, I'd like to understand it so I can say, oh, okay, good, bad, or indifferent. But certainly, minimally, to clarify it for responders is because as I sit there, forget planning lingo, as I sat there and looked at it and started thinking about it, I was like, well, geez, if I'm a developer or I'm an institution, whatever, and I don't get notice of that, do I have a chance to come complain and say, hey, wait a minute, why didn't you ask me? It could be, developers nationally, regionally, locally, what kind of institutions. I mean, it's just a lot of ambiguity. And even if you say, with a view to getting the widest possible information back or feedback, that doesn't really help clarify.
I mean, it just says that includes outreach too. It doesn't say that promises to include every developer known to man or anything like that.
Robust public engagement that includes outreach
Includes outreach.
to all these things.
I don't think there's an inherent promise to any of that, but.
But, Mr. Chairman, I think there needs to be words added so that people understand what community engagement is about. Words such as voice. You give voice to other people and not just people in this room. Second, that you listen to these voices and not just our voices. Thirdly, you learn from what other people tell us, and not just people in these rooms, and that you can quote, and this is the tough one, incorporate what you've heard from other groups. That's adding activity to the bland word engagement, which is overused and not really followed through. If you wanted to make it work, you got to actually state these things.
I like that, however, I don't like the promise of incorporation.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if the entire public comes back and says, we want single-family
why I
residential
thought-
on every lot,
That's why I paused. That's why I paused. That's the price of paying for real engagement. It is. But you don't need to go that far. You can go back from that.
Say
to inform the final.
To inform, but these are all good
Incorporate, but
verbs.
to consider.
These are good verbs.
Can't you just
Get
say,
my point?
yeah, I don't like the word incorporate either.
I agree with
I
Mr. Scheer to
think
get
a
rid.
successful public engagement would incorporate something, just not everything.
The problem, this is the parental problem, pardon my analogy. When your children say, you don't listen to me, yeah, I listen to you, I just don't agree.
with it.
Sure.
Yeah, incorporate is the bad word.
It's
too broad.
I agree with Mr. Scheer's comment about developer. Maybe we get rid of that. There's already a perception in this town that we coddle them, which we don't, but just get rid of developer. We're not going to call every developer in town.
I could live with that. That's,
And I wonder out loud whether residents, business owners, institutions, and underserved communities, Mr. Scheer, does the word local in front adds anything
helps.
to you?
That helps.
Because you get where you're going.
Well, partly, yeah. I think that, at least if I were responding, I would be thinking, God, are these guys looking for me to talk to the
ICSC.
Builders
Yeah.
Association, National Builder, but, so I think local would help.
and that also doesn't bother me, by the way. I think local is a simple enough word to where we mean businesses in Birmingham, even though like Starbucks is a national brand. It's not a local business, but it's here locally.
Yeah.
Simple change of the word. Drop developer and add builder. Builders like that. People like that word. As you said, the city thinks we overcompensate
But to Mr.
developers.
Scherer's point, how many builders reside at our businesses within the city of Birmingham versus have done a project, and how do we have a list? Who do we say we're going to be talking to? Why don't we just say that you're a business owner, a resident, an institution, or part of the, an underserved community, and we'll get people to come.
Would property owner be appropriate in place of developer, because you're speaking to
Business owners and property
potential
owners. I like that.
development,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
but
I
the
like that.
ownership
I like that.
is
I like that a
local.
lot.
I mean, it's not local, but the parcel is obviously local.
That's a great idea.
Good one. Good.
Consider your comments.
Yeah.
And that sounds good. And I'm floundering a little bit on the local business thing
You good too.
because of the,
Why?
just the structure, and I think the term local business has a different connotation. Like shop local, those movements and things mean
Could be the opposite.
potentially a little different.
So what's the opposite? So you wouldn't listen to Whole Foods?
I mean, fair retort. I'm not going to answer that. I wish, of course, listen to Whole Foods. You're trying to trap me over here. As long as maybe there's consensus that local businesses just means businesses in Birmingham.
In Birmingham.
Yeah, I think it's good.
We can all agree?
Yeah.
I don't want to overthink it, so that's,
And then I like Mr. Scheer's point or Mr. Boyle's point as well. Maybe there's a fourth bullet that just simply says something to the effect of what the intent of the engagement and stakeholder involvement is, to inform, educate, solicit input,
All of it.
all of those sort of things in order to help inform final decisions on the plan. Something along those lines.
as a
Well, we
fourth
wanna add-
bullet point, or?
Maybe, I don't know, figure out how it fits in. Then you could do it.
Okay.
Why not include developer? And the reason I'm asking is that, in the Triangle District,
Who are they, Bert?
I don't know who they are. They're,
No one does. give me a list, and we'll include them, but there's going to be 5 guys or people that live here, there's going to be 15 that have done a project in the last 10 years, and then there's going to be 800 that live in other communities that are thinking about doing a project here. Who are we trying,
Can I ask a question? Is there, because we're here to ask the question, is there any benefit in being less specific and just being a little more general? Like a range of stakeholders, something really simple like that, so we don't
I
have
like
to
where we've come
pigeonhole
to
ourselves?
as we are. I like
Okay.
where we've come to personally, I don't know about anybody else.
I thought Leah's point was good.
Yeah,
I
I
would
agree
definitely
completely.
add building owners.
We could also do including but not limited
Property
to.
owners.
Something.
Is that with it?
We could also add including but not limited to, just to leave ourselves an open door a little bit. If you're,
I don't know, I'll leave that to you. I don't
okay,
care.
okay.
I don't care either. Okay.
Okay.
It's a wrap.
Any other comments or questions? Good work.
Great, thank you. So before we move on, and we talked about this last time, Scott, we've got to talk about the matrix, Exhibit 1.
yeah.
We've got to talk about that. But just to note, I'm going to make these changes, and this is going to go live next Tuesday. So speak now or forever hold your peace. I, of course, will have this in front of the manager and the attorney before I post. So you can rest assured that those eyes will be on it. But what I really wanted to do next was talk about that matrix, because as I mentioned last time, didn't mention this time, I did consolidate all of the zoning type requirements into a separate matrix, whereas before, every last recommendation from the 2040 plan was in the matrix. Some specific questions for you to ponder, whether or not we include this further study section, because we've implied before that we might not like those to be included in the zoning ordinance update, and by including them here, perhaps we're signaling that we are willing to have those considered in a zoning ordinance update. So I'd like to know whether or not you think we should just cut that section and be a little bit more representative of what we actually want them to consider. Otherwise, should I add a description of what this is? What are your thoughts on this particular part as Exhibit 1?
Well, I have a comment not related to that.
Okay,
So
sure.
I might suggest that for clarity, if I didn't know any better and I was looking at this, you've got 3 different, you've got section planning board, environmental sustainability committee, multimodal transportation, city commission. My question is, am I going before all 4? Are they all involved? What are we doing? That sounds a lot more expensive. So some of them are the same thing written several times. Maybe you kind of strip that and just have one list. Doesn't say who it is, but just policy, title, and description. Boom. That way you've only got things listed once. You've got zoning code update. I guess you have to define comprehensive. If we don't, isn't that part of the zoning code update? So,
Yeah, this first list would be, and then this further study was what we were intending it to not be included.
well, my question, that's my question. I mean, update the zoning code following best practices is kind of grayed out and separated, but then you've got comprehensive. I don't know if that's supposed to be a subset of number 1. Is that what you're doing?
It's kind of just for us. If I were to consolidate, I would remove that.
Okay. So all of that we're doing for sure, and you can bring up the comprehensive from somewhere else, anywhere else it's listed, and throw it up into our list, right?
Yeah, I would keep everything verbatim. So everything in here is verbatim from the master plan, so I
Right.
probably wouldn't actually add.
But you'd move it up, so it's one list.
Oh,
That's
yes.
my point, right?
Of course, yes. And there would be.
So you'd
no
have a list
duplicates.
of comprehensive zoning code update, which is, boom, all of these things.
Yes,
And then you've got this list of further study that you asked us a question on.
yes.
But you're not going to list.
So all the duplicates would be removed to be one single list.
Perfect.
Right. They're not going to say who it's
Verbatim.
for.
Right.
Right. That makes sense. That does make sense. So the zoning code update under environmental sustainability, the same under multimodal, and the same under city commission would effectively be removed.
Like, all of those subgroups are going to be removed.
Yeah, basically, so we'd be left with about half a page of things, which is a lot in this little list. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Visually, it may seem small, but it's not.
To the bigger question of further study.
Tom. Wow. Well, speaking
Yeah,
speaking
go for it.
personally, City Commission further study encourage renovations to expand existing houses rather than the construction of new homes. I'd love to see what they would come up with. Absolutely love to see it. And in a zoning code. How would they word that? What would they be putting in for us? That'd be really interesting discussion.
Yeah.
I think the further, food and trucks and kiosks, that's just words.
Yeah, and that's kind of more of a policy decision. It's just kind of a strange ordinance-related recommendation, frankly.
But it's a good one.
Right.
I'm in favor of keeping that.
The first one, the create a new zoning district, is that what you mean?
No, I've gone down. Sorry, I've gone down. I went down to the bottom, to the very last one. The second last one. Under City Commission.
That might be the only one that I think might be tenable. The only other one would be the seam issue, because if we're doing a whole new zoning map, now might be the best time. And we limited it so much in the master plan that it is rather nominal, I guess I'll say, for a word. So I don't know that it'd be some big sweeping issue like it was throughout the master plan process because of how cut back it ended up being. So that's probably the only other one I might pitch to you guys as a throw in there, the seam zoning districts while we're, reviewing the map. Other than that, I think.
So you're saying, so what are you saying? What gets,
This first one in further study, right to the right of it, create a new zoning district or modify the transition zone districts to enable, et cetera, et cetera.
right?
Infill.
Which
small
is
homes, townhomes,
the entire seam issue.
limited.
So that would go into what we're doing?
Yes.
I would stay.
Okay. And then you're saying that the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points under further study are just omitted?
To me, I think a couple of these, like neighborhood sleeves and the Woodward Gateway redevelopment, well,
I mean, some of these are big plans, like Adams Square might be a little outside of what we're trying to do here, right?
they almost seem like sub-area plans in a way. So just like the Triangle District was, it was a sub-area plan. We'd create that and then subsequently create zoning standards based on it. So if you ever do like a Woodward sub-area plan, like 3 of these would apply to say that. Because there are other recommendations in the plan to develop those, yeah. I guess I should also say, well, maybe not, dare I say, the ADUs and the already compatible zones, the first half of that might be simple to throw in the comprehensive update. It's the latter half that the study ADUs part of it that isn't appropriate for the zoning ordinance.
Put it in.
I was going to ask about that.
Put that in.
So I would, to summarize, I would suggest seams, the limited ADU recommendations, and if you'd like, the Robin suggestion about seeing what they come up with about supporting renovations.
And remind us of what exactly this matrix, who gets it, what does it do?
Goes to the consultants that are working on this, so they know what's in and out.
Yeah.
Does it go to the city commission first, or is it it's not part of the,
Part of the RFP.
it's part of the RFP? Okay.
And we've already gotten this to the commission. It's already been accepted or what have you.
You've got 3 in here dealing with zoning standards in South Woodward Gateway.
Right, which I'm suggesting I think necessitates
Well,
something more.
But that was a pretty substantial part of the plan. And certainly it was part of the conversation coming from the commission.
Sure.
Was it?
Yeah, it was one of the 3 or 4 points they made.
Southwood?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there is a realm of possibilities where we throw it all at them and just like.
But on the other hand, you know, I understand that if we're not going to get into what I call sub-area plans, and that's one, you know, who's to say we shouldn't put in North Woodward? Or who's to say, you know, I mean, how many of these do we want?
Well, the 2040 plan did include concepts for the South Woodward
Yes,
Gateway.
yes,
Yeah, illustrations and stuff here.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, keep in mind too, that we're gonna do this update, and we're required to revisit master plans every 5 years, so we don't have, this isn't like the only time we need to do this, or will do this.
Well, I go back to Bert's point, he may not remember he made it, but spending a lot of time on the South Woodward Gateway under the present circumstances, it's kind of a waste of time. It's not like anything we're gonna do now is gonna change ownership interests or your theory on where the streets ought to hit Woodward. I mean, that's such a long-term project that, I mean, we'd never finish.
But if we never get started, we'll definitely never
What do
finish.
you think the duration of what this consultant will do for us will be?
2040?
Yeah, 15 years.
No, the consultant?
On this project?
Oh, no. No, the longevity of what they write.
Because the 2040 took much longer, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if COVID came into play, I think it did.
A little bit.
I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm going to suggest, as Mr. Dupuy and others have said, that the list includes everything from the top down through address neighborhood lighting standards, as we talked about. It also includes create a new zoning district or modify the transition zones, that very next one.
Yep.
It includes
City Commission.
adopting a policy requiring a minimum 6-foot clear path along sidewalks in mixed-use districts. And it includes in
Renovations.
studying the encouragement of renovations to expand existing homes rather than the construction of new ones. And that everything else is just not on there for now. Though I will say that I got distracted. The discussion of ADUs, at least the partial one, I'm up for, at least the beginning part of that. But I think everything else is part of some other plan, Mr. Dupuy. I think you've convinced me. And I think that that's enough, given where our budget and where our timeline is on this. Does that make sense?
And bring closure to it.
Yes.
It does.
What about the rest of the board?
I agree. I would argue that we should keep the first part of the ADU
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
section.
I agree with you, and I think deleting the South Woodward, why would we not at the same time consider North Woodward?
Yeah, so
I
therefore,
mean,
neither.
and then,
Everything becomes detailed.
and then we can go back to the rail district.
Then we can-
You know, I mean,
then we can
it
redo
would
the
be
plan.
endless.
I know. I'm with you. I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the concept here should be that we do as you suggested, and then, in the context of future, that you study, in effect, subplans.
We got a list of things.
We have a long history of doing subplans, but we have not done subplans for South Woodward Gateway, and we haven't done one for North Woodward, at least to my knowledge we haven't. So, but those are subplans, really. Those are area-specific, and I think they shouldn't be in this at this time. We'll try to make a note of future
Yeah.
studies.
Well, they'll have a copy of the 2040 plan too. They can find all that themselves.
Good.
But we'll never finish once we start down this road of subplans.
Okay, agreed.
All right.
All right.
Leah, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to ask a question.
Please, sure.
So I know we don't have a sub-plan for it, and I don't know whether or not we intend to. I'm just contemplating the Adams Square line. If this is the ordinance update for like the next 15 years, is it a problem if we don't contemplate that at all? You know, in, like, it says redevelopment in here, but like infill is also a part of that, considering it's outside of the Triangle District now. So the zoning's not exactly ideal.
I guess my response to that would be it's such a large parcel and such a unique parcel in this city and uniquely situated that in order to do what I think you're asking to do, there's an element of actual site planning involved.
Like
And
too
I
much.
don't think that the planners that we hired to do this necessarily all have
Got it.
that skill, because they're different sides of the coin, as you guys know.
Yeah.
It would get into marketing and other things to determine what is likely to want to go there and how to want to do
The
it.
history of that site is that the owners opposed even considering it.
But they've changed. The owners have changed.
Well, I know they've changed, but I don't know if they've changed enough.
And a big part of that plan was the potential to study a park as a part of it too.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
an extra layer there. There's
Yeah.
also.
The park at the east end.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the future land use map, it's considered to be drawn in. So I think we wouldn't be out of bounds to say, make it consistent with what is now the Triangle District. I don't think we'd be out of bounds there.
As
But
part
I
of
just don't
That's
think we'd be
kind of what
specific.
I just was bringing that up from that perspective,
It's worth discussing now.
not like
as opposed to-
redesigning the whole.
Yeah.
And if we find out who Adam is, it's apostrophe S in the plan. Should be ADA.
Blame DPZ on that one.
Adam's got something going.
Lucky Adam.
All right, I think that's clear, and I would probably title this page
Yeah, make it
something
shorter.
with a short
Be a lot
description as to
shorter.
what it even is, so they're not like, huh? And then,
My general comment, and I would just say, the one thing you said, if we get in too many of these subplans, the budget's going to go just nuts. And we can't, in the initial stages, we just can't do that. Because,
And it'll take years, so.
well, if we may never finish.
All right, good work.
You might not anyway.
Let's move along. Agendas for next time.
Not my lifetime, maybe yours.
Next we got, let's see, I don't know that project updates, any questions? I don't think we had any administrative approvals that anybody has any questions on. Draft agendas for next time. We've got the 10th of September is our next meeting. 26977.
That's corner of Gordon.
Corner of Gordon.
sure is.
Stunned to see that.
We're going to put a gas station in again.
How'd you know?
Haven't
Three-story.
had one in 40 years,
3-story with drive-through.
50 years.
All right.
On this, if I may, Chair Klein, I haven't here zoning ordinance update because I assume that every meeting I'll have some sort of update for you. But to me, on the 10th, it will literally just be, hey, I successfully posted the zoning ordinance update.
It's due this day, yeah.
Yeah. So if you felt differently, now's your opportunity to ask. I think that's all I would.
It's fine by me.
Okay, good.
Fine by me. I don't know, given the lightness of that meeting and the meeting schedule moving forward, if there's anything else, the things we've been working on, Mr. Dupuy, we talked about bonus heights in the triangle. We got to figure that out before we do any changes to the zoning
We
ordinance.
make it 479 or 5, whatever it is.
But-
Put it back.
Think about it. That's my only suggestion.
I will think about it. I'll admit that we have a lot of other stuff going on that I might
Okay.
value
Yeah.
just shifting to that. In the
Okay.
meantime, while I have a quote-unquote break from planning board, I'll miss you, but
Robust
No, that
sessions
shouldn't.
in 2026.
but I will
because
at
it-
least consider it.
Because as a reminder, we do not have a meeting the second week of October. After our meeting on the 10th of September, our next meeting is October 22nd.
Yeah, so we're missing 2 meetings in a row due to holidays.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
So on the 22nd, I think the chair and I may work together to determine how we're going to do responses and things, and we'll work together with the manager and stuff, because we'll have had responses back for almost a month at that point. So we'll chat that out when the time comes.
Okay.
Maybe a little more on the 10th, but.
All right. Any other?
What's happening with 479, sorry? In terms of like, where is it on our agenda? We don't know. What's,
I haven't got anything.
We're waiting for a new application.
They need to tell us what they're going to change that they want us to review again.
I suspect they're just preparing. Maybe they're being thorough, but I haven't heard anything.
Any other business? That meeting adjourned.